Good evening, aspiring business women out there. How are you this evening? Please give a big virtual round of applause to Samantha Culshaw Robinson, who has been an ABW member for what feels like a lifetime now. I don't even know how long. It's been quite a long time though.
Yeah, it's a couple of years.
It's definitely a couple of years. And your business is called What's the Alternative, isn't it? Oh, she's frozen on me.
I'm Claire.
Oh, are you there? Oh, you're back.
Still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah. So I was just saying, so your business is called What's the Alternative? What's the Alternative Therapy, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I've got two sides to my business actually, but that's one side. So the other side, well, that side of it, I'm a hypnotherapist by trade. So the What's the Alternative Therapy is my one-to-one therapy, where I help people who struggle with their weight, stress and anxiety, smoking. They're sort of my main ones. But I have got another side to my business as well. So
tell us.
And that is, it's called the Work Well practice.
I've seen this.
Yeah. So I used to teach. So I wanted to incorporate both sides really, working in groups and what I've learnt with my therapy. So I took an MSc in workplace health, and I branched out into that as well. So
do you use your hypnotherapy in the workplace as well then? Is that?
Well, I tend to use, because I'm a mindfulness coach, so I tend to use that kind of side of it really. But I do sort of bring in what I've learnt in my training with my hypnotherapy, sort of neuro-linguistic programming. So all those sort of ways of changing behaviour really.
And so when you're working in the workplace, are you doing it with groups?
Yeah. Sometimes though, people will send one client, say if somebody's off sick or somebody's having a particular stressful time or something, then I'll do a one-to-one as well. So it's a sort of...
How did this start? Because I know there are lots of businesses within ABW, and many of them are wanting to get into the corporate businesses for their services and the like. How did you get that first stepping stone into one of these bigger businesses?
Well, it's been really difficult actually, and I found marketing to businesses really hard, especially I think since the GDPR thing. I think it's going to be what I've found successful really is linking with, so finding somebody who's already got the content. And also end up with a group called Hands on Health, and they're a kind of they outsource people's services as well, because I have found it really difficult. Marketing is my weak, so foot through the door, and admit that.
I mean, we all have things that we love and things that we don't in business. So if marketing is your weakness, is that something, apart from the hands-on help people, is that something you are looking for help in your business?
I'm going through, there's a guy who's a particular, very narrow field. I've had some advice from Debbie Client. So I'm now sort of getting the sort of really niche advice from somebody who knows. So I'm taking, because I don't know if I told you, but my father died about a month ago. So I'm using this sort of breathing space about that. So I'm using it to really reassess, think, why do I want to do this? Am I doing it right? What my aims are? Because it's so easy, we just get lost in our day-to-day.
Absolutely. And you end up like a year down the line going, why have I taken this route? This isn't where my direction was meant to be headed. So to be able to take that time out and reflect on your path, which is what I think you were saying, because I keep losing you, keep sounding like a robot, but I'm hoping that the recording going to be clear, because often I know that when people's internet connection is a bit jittery, the actual replay's fine. So keep talking. But if I'm looking confused, it's because I can't hear some of what you're saying. But no, taking time out to reassess is really key, and probably something that you advise people to do for themselves as well. So you're taking your own advice.
Yeah. Sometimes, you know, we're all very good at solving other people's problems, aren't we?
Yeah,
and then.
So you clearly talk to me about hypnotherapy. How did you get into that?
I got into it really because one of my family members was struggling a bit. So I was looking into, you know, researching how to help, what would be the best strategy and all that. And I found hypnotherapy, and I just got completely, I don't know, besotted with it, I suppose. Just fascinated me. And then, so we sort of got through that stage. And then I wanted to train myself. So, and I just love it. I really do. Every day is different.
And how long ago was that you trained?
2010 it was.
2010. I thought you were going to say 20 years ago. 2010, so 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And so do you have a clinic in the same place, or do people come to you, or do you go to them? How does that work?
I have a therapy room at home, which tends to work best for me, to be honest. I do sometimes work in the Tiger Bow Centre in town as well, but it's quite difficult, I find, to control my environment there. You know, it can be quite noisy if there's a group of people. If somebody runs over, then I've got less time. You know, I find it easier to work.
Absolutely. It's probably more relaxing for them at your home.
Yeah, I think so, because, you know, if I get to a stage where I'm really having some good success and the person's not in a rush, then I can do 10 more minutes and it doesn't matter. So I sort of get the best out of it really then as well.
So those of the watchers who have never had any form of hypnotherapy, and I think I've had it once, and it was a lady who was training years ago. I'm talking like 12 years ago. And I don't know whether I was hypnotized or not. I felt like I was in a very relaxed state, but I was completely aware of what was happening around me. My other experience of hypnotherapy was at university, seeing a hypnotist on the stage and my friends jumping around like monkeys and chickens and not being able to pick pennies up off the floor. That's clearly not what you do. So for those who have never experienced hypnotherapy, what can they expect?
Well, it is an altered state, but it's not that kind of, you know, the stage hypnosis, people look completely zonked out and sort of like this, aren't they? They do that because they pick out the most suggestible in the audience.
Yes.
So they go through a series of questions, I don't know if you remember, or series of activities, and the ones who are most compliant are the ones who end up on stage. So in therapy, it's not really the same because it's an altered state. So your brainwave frequencies are different. So just in the way that the rapid eye movement stage in sleep, you know, where your brain is processing things, that's why your eyes are going like this. Yeah. That's a different frequency to a very deep sleep, for instance. So it's a different frequency of your brain, but you're completely conscious. You know, you can get up if you want to. But just because you're sort of in that frequency, you can be very focused on one thing. So, say if you're going back to a situation, it will be really vivid rather than just thinking about it now, like we're thinking about it. So, say for instance, when I had a session, I used to be scared of heights, and I went back to a time when I was in a tree when I was a child. And I could feel that fear, you know, I was frozen in fear. But just going back to it helped me resolve it because I thought, well, I don't need to feel like that anymore.
So before you had your session, were you aware that it was that incident that had made you have a fear of heights?
No, not at all.
You were in that relaxed state, you were able to remember it.
Yeah, you can contact your subconscious then, you see, and sort of communicate with it. So I just find it fascinating, I have to say. I mean, in fact, when I was 50, I decided to go up in a hot air balloon for my birthday. So
just to prove that you weren't afraid of heights.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it, so.
And so in terms of sessions, how many sessions is average for somebody who wants to lose weight or stop smoking?
Okay, well,
common things.
Yeah, it depends really. I do 2 sessions for the smoking because then I give people the option to either sort of psych themselves up beforehand for a certain date. For instance, I don't only use the hypnosis, I use behavior changing techniques as well. So, it's the idea is to shake things up a bit and do things differently so that you're planning to do things in a different way. So there's no sort of vacuum left for the smoking to sneak back in at a future date. So you're doing things different. So your brain's thinking, oh, what's going on? It's not thinking, where's my fag? So, I do 2 sessions for the smoking.
That's a lot less than I thought it would be, in all honesty. I thought it'd be more.
Yeah, it is really effective. And then for weight, it really depends how much weight somebody's got to lose. Sometimes somebody may have done a lot of work themselves and then just be finding it difficult to lose the last bit, or they may have a lot to lose and they want hand holding for a long period of time. So it's usually between sort of 4 and 8 sessions for the weight, depending on what the person wants to do.
Are they the most common things that people come to you about, or do you get the people who are like anxious and stressed? Do they come to you too?
Yeah, there's a lot of that around, as you can imagine, at the moment.
Yeah.
So, again, I tend to use combinations of things. So I use a lot of mindfulness with people, as well as the hypnotherapy, because again, it's giving people the tools that they need, to carry on their own.
Because they can take away with them, that they can take away, and if they get into that state, then they can utilize them.
Yeah, or if they, if they manage to deal with their stress in this particular stage in their life, we all know that life isn't static and it throws things at you. So we can use it again, in another stressful period.
So, do you have an ideal client? If you are marketing to people and you've admitted that marketing is your strong point, do you have that one ideal client that you're marketing to?
I see teenagers and I see older people, but you and I know that kind of sort of not forcing things and allowing things to sort of flow naturally. It seems to be sort of middle-aged women, really, to be honest. They seem to really click with me. I click with them, and I've worked with men and I'm quite happy to do that. But my ideal client is really somebody like me, I suppose. That seems to work best for me. So
because you get them, they know that you're going to understand them.
Yeah.
The teenage boy might be more like, oh, yeah, I'm going to see this woman tonight. Got nothing in common with her.
Yeah, and sometimes young people are often sort of pushed along by their parents. Yeah. So it's not always a positive experience if they don't want to be there. So
not at all. So what are your biggest challenges coming up?
My biggest challenges coming up really are I think this sort of little plateau I've made for myself, because I sort of tailed off my clients, really pinning down, what I want, because I've been doing it for a while now. So for instance, one of the things that Debbie pointed out was I've been spending £350 every month on Google Ads.
Oh my goodness.
So that's been a real eye-opener. I've just stopped doing them.
That's quite a lot of money.
It is, yeah. Yes. So, and I hadn't realised that wasn't really a good idea. But you just carry on, don't you? And,
of course you do. In the hopes that somebody's going to come and that one client will pay for them. And
yeah. I mean, it did pay for itself, but obviously, if I cannot do that, I'm going to make a lot more.
Do other things.
Yeah, so it's being more precise, I think, because I tend to just sort of follow my intuition, which is fine, but you do need a bit more fine-tuning and action plans and sort of going back and checking things.
Absolutely. What have been your most recent successes?
My most recent successes, I had a guy who'd been smoking for 50 years, nearly 50 years, and he came with great trepidation. He thought, I'm never going to be able to stop, and if I do, I'm going to be so bad-tempered, and it's going to be so hard. And he contacted me a few days after the session, his second session, and he said it was just been so easy. I couldn't believe it. So that was one.
And clearly you've asked for a Facebook review from him, haven't you?
Yes. he wasn't online, so
but you're sharing his review everywhere.
Yeah, he did me a text one because he wasn't online. But that's another thing. It's quite difficult to get videos and things from some people because they don't particularly want people to know.
Text, you can screenshot the text and blank out the number and the details and share that everywhere, can't you?
Yeah. I've had a few people who've done videos for me, which has been brilliant,
Brilliant. Yeah, that's what you want, isn't it? Videos. Yeah, absolutely. That's all your business. What do you do? Well, I know something that you do when you're not working. You go, is it jogging or walking?
Yes, I do. I run.
Yes. Yeah. What else do you do in your free time?
Well, my dad's taken up a lot of my free time lately. But it's mostly, I like going out and listening to music, just spending some time with my friends and my family.
Live music or just in the house?
Yeah, live music. I've got a friend who's a music promoter, so try and go and see what she puts on and stuff. And my brother, he's a composer, but he can't write music. So
right.
So I sometimes go and see his things as well. So.
Wow, that's a talent. If it's all in your head.
It is. It's amazing.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So if ABW could help you with one thing in your business, or more than one thing, what would it be?
Gosh, I think probably what I found successful when I first joined ABW was coming to the meetings, and I haven't been able to do that recently. So I think it's really meeting people one-to-one, and for the workplace, a lot of people have got partners who work in stressful places and things like that. So, and it's getting personal recommendations like that, really, rather than
letting you know that your service is there to go into the workplace and things. I guess you have to go in at a management level, really, for it to filter down.
Yeah, I've done some work in schools, but I don't really specialise in that. So, you really need to get a management buy-in, because otherwise it's. And
do you find do you have to go in and pitch yourself to them, or is it done via email? How does that work?
It depends. As I say, I'm trying to get in through contacts. My friend who's the HR consultant, and other contacts, really. I think it's very difficult to just send somebody an email because A, now you're not allowed to do that, are you? And B, people have got enough stuff to read. They just
absolutely. But that's what when you have got the contact, do you have to go into the business and pitch yourself?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And what we normally do is we send out a survey, and then the staff can fill in the survey. And so they're not just, for instance, usually it's stress, low energy, and bad backs, musculoskeletal things that people really want to improve. And if the sort of head honchos can see that they're the problems their staff have got, and they would actually do something about it, that's when you get the buy-in. If you just sort of say, oh, you need this service, they sort of think, well,
no, we don't.
It doesn't sort of speak to them then.
Yeah, they're fine as they are. Leave them as they are. They're fine. Yeah. It's like that mentality, isn't it?
Yeah.
Until the workforce breaks down, and then they go, oh, "Shit, I should have done something."
Yeah, that's exactly it, isn't it?
Well, you've got a lot on your plate with the two businesses.
Yes.
Once you've got that momentum back, it will soon start going again. Once you've saved a bit of money on Google Ads and used it elsewhere,
Yeah.
Other things, you'll be back in business soon, I'm sure. Not that you're not in business now, but like you said, you've hit that plateau because of personal reasons with your dad, which is perfectly normal for that to happen. And I think just a month on is fine to still be taking time for yourself.
Yeah, it's still early days.
Yeah, very early days.
So, yeah.
Thank you very much for coming on here this evening and for volunteering about to go for it. Sorry?
I'm glad we managed in the end, because I don't think...
Yes, we had a few technical issues at the beginning, but we've managed, and your glitching has also stopped as well. So that's great. Yeah, it only lasted for like the first 5 minutes. So I shall leave you now, because otherwise we'll be cut off anyway. So thank you very much, Samantha, and hopefully we will see you again very soon at one of the meetings.
Yes, look forward to it.
Okay. Thank
Bye, everyone.
you. Bye.